When it comes to Premier League titles, Arsenal has just 3 to their name. But for a team of their calibre, that figure could have, and should have, been much higher. In a number of seasons, Arsenal came tantalisingly close to clinching the coveted Premier League trophy, only for them to falter in the final months and lose it all. And we don't want to be pessimistic here, but this season, we have already started seeing shadows of another impending collapse. After leading the league table from the word go, Arsenal now feel like they're losing steam, and with only weeks left to go in the season, they seem intent on throwing away all the momentum they have had since the beginning of the season. The truth is that, when the season started, the fans in no shape or form expected their team to be in the title race, especially considering they didn't even make the top 4 last season. They would have been fine with just making the top 4 this time around. But the dominance and scintillating football that has been on display damn near every week from Arteta's men whipped up hopes, and those hopes became even bigger as the point gap between Arsenal and City began to widen. So, Gunners around the world allowed themselves to dream. They went from our goal is top 4 to thinking, we might actually win this thing. However, the train has hit an unexpected snag. We say expected because this is almost a character trait for Arsenal. In fact, here are 5 times Arsenal almost won the Premier League, but wilted in the final months. But before we get into that, take a quick second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Done? Okay, let's now look at the 2007-08 season. After the move to the Emirates Stadium and a period of cash crunch and savings, Arsenal had one real shot at the league title in the 2007-08 campaign. They made a strong start, going unbeaten in their first 15 games, and spending most of the season at the top of the table. Fans began to feel like the year was 2004 again, and you would understand why they felt like that, because they even remained undefeated at home for the entire season. However, a 2-2 draw with soon-to-be relegated Birmingham in February proved to be the turning point. It wasn't just a draw, something broke off mentally for Arsenal in that game. A win could have taken them 8 points clear at the top of the table. Instead, what happened was a nasty injury to youngster Eduardo and a 95th minute penalty for Birmingham, who were already reduced to 10 men. A penalty which was conceded by captain William Gallas. That game simply took the wind out of Arsenal's sails and they slumped, really badly. And Manchester United, Arsenal's nemesis and old rivals, were there to take advantage and snatch the title to complete their European double that season, leaving Arsenal in second place, 4 points behind. I don't know about you, but this sounds all too similar to what's happening this season. 2-2 draw aided by a penalty, a Manchester club coming to win the league and complete a European double. Anyway, let's move on to the 2013-14 season. This time around, Arsenal spent 128 days at the top of the table, and in this campaign, they had a real chance of winning their first Premier League title a decade after they last won it in 2004. Also, this was their first chance at redemption after their collapse in 2008. The Gunners showed consistency in the winter months, climbing steadily to the top of the league. However, a humiliating 6-0 loss to Chelsea, coupled with further defeats against Stoke and Everton, ended Arsenal's dream of winning the title that season. Once again, the damage was mental. They ended the season in 4th position, 7 points off the top spot. You know what? Let's now really throw things back. Let's take a look at the 1998-99 season. This was actually the first time Arsenal blew a title chance under Arsene Wenger. To be fair to them, they were up against perhaps the best Manchester United side the Premier League has ever seen. But for some time, Arsenal looked like they could actually successfully defend their title after winning it in '98. They had come from behind to top the table, and they looked like they were actually going to hold on till the end. They were so close that they only needed to beat Leeds United and Aston Villa in their last 2 games to be crowned champions. Yes, all they needed was just to win 2 games and they would snatch the trophy from United. But what happened next is now all too familiar. Arsenal lost the next game, a 1-0 defeat to Leeds. It blew the title race back open, and United were able to come back and clinch the title by just 1 point, despite not being able to win any of their 2 games against Arsenal that season. To make this bottle job even more hurtful for Gunners, Man United went on to complete the European treble that season, a feat which no other English club has been able to achieve to date. If only Arsenal were able to finish the job, right? Let's now move on to the 2001-02 season. That season, Arsenal went top of the league with a famous 3-0 victory against neighbouring rival Spurs in mid-November, and stayed there until early April. The team, full of fresh international youngsters, was taking the league for a joke and making the English media question what they knew. However, Sir Alex Ferguson once famously said, "The title race gets decided in April," and this time it did. Arsenal were flustered by 2 needless draws against Aston Villa and Bolton Wanderers, and then a 3-2 home loss to Leeds finished off the Gunners, allowing United to claim the title by a comfortable 5 points. Once again, Arsenal's title hopes were dashed by Manchester United. Once again, the title was in their hands, but it was thrown away to the frustration of Gunners all over the world. But none of these bottle jobs have been frustrating as what we saw in the 2015-16 season. That year, Leicester City undoubtedly proved to be worthy champions. We'll give them that. But it's really hard to ignore the fact that Arsene Wenger's men, with their impressive roster of star players, could have posed a greater challenge. Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool and Man City were so out of sorts that season. So with none of the traditional contenders looking likely, the title was pretty much Arsenal's to lose. And guess what? They actually did lose it. Till this day, it's still very impressive that a team assembled for under £31 million in transfer fees could beat their more expensive rivals to the title. But that really shouldn't have happened. The undeniable quality of players Arsenal had, like Mesut Ozil, Per Mertesacker, Alexis Sanchez and Santi Cazorla, who all boast impressive accolades such as World Cup, European Championship and Copa America victories, should have helped Arsenal over the line after so many years of waiting. The team was in the running all season, and were, in fact, favourites because of instabilities from the big clubs. So it did feel like it was finally Arsenal's year. But then, 2 back-to-back defeats to Manchester United and Swansea in March were all it took for Arsenal to basically surrender the league title to Leicester City, who never let it slip from their grasp. They held tightly to their lead and went all the way to win the Premier League title for the first time in their history, eventually finishing 10 points above Arsenal in second. That hurt so much, but if Arsenal bottle the Premier League title yet again in the 2022-23 season, after the quality of football they've played all season, then we're sure it'd hurt more than every other one on the list. And we'll be honest, bottling 2-goal leads in back-to-back Premier League games, while Man City keeps scoring tons of goals against everybody, is not a very good sign. But hey, if you're a Gunner, don't lose hope yet. You're still top of the table with nothing but the Premier League to focus on this season. It might be a tough final few weeks, but it can be done. You still have that huge game against Man City coming up soon. That one will really feel like a cup final. But if Arsenal can win it, they can really go on to win the Premier League title for the first time in 19 years. What do you guys think will happen though? Will Arsenal bottle yet another Premier League title, or will they manage to see this one out? Share your thoughts in the comments.